and welcome to another episode of Yoga for Classroom's Favorite Things. Today, we are sharing some of our favorite chapter books for students, or sometimes called young adults, but I think these are a little more elementary aged, but chapter books. So these are fantastic they could be for classroom read alouds. If you're third, fourth, or fifth grade teacher, you read a chapter at the end of the day. These are great for book clubs. That's how I used them as a school counselor. We would be assigned students certain chunks to read each week. And then once a week during lunch, we would discuss the books. They can just be books that you share with students. They can be used in a lot of different ways, but these are some of our favorite chapter books that have a good lesson or a lot of good content to lead to conversations that can help us learn and grow. So let's get to it. The first that I want to share is Wonder. If you joined me for my favorite things about kindness books in children's literature, I shared a children's lit book that is the same idea of Wonder, but I just absolutely love Wonder. It was made into a movie a handful of years ago. It teaches so many good concepts: kindness, respect, empathy, accepting differences. It talks about the challenges that we have as young people. There's just so many ways we can help our young people digest what they learn in this book. This was always my favorite to do a book club with. Lots of great conversation came up very easily every time we did it. And I just highly, highly recommend that book. So Wonder is a great one. A few more that I love: Ruby on the Outside. This book may be new to you. Maybe you've never heard it, but the really cool thing about this book is it addresses a young person, a young girl, 11-year-old named Ruby, and her mom is in prison, and she doesn't want any of her classmates to know at the beginning of the story. So it really talks about the complexities and the complications that are involved when you have a secret like that and nobody knows it. So Ruby on the Outside, really good. Again, lots of valuable conversations that can come from this one. Next up, Blended. This one was pretty popular a few years ago, but I still absolutely love it. Blended is about a girl whose father is Black and mother is white, and it goes through the different complications she has with identity and with really accepting herself. There's also elements of divorce wrapped up in it that helps her that helps students kind of process through what that is like, the concepts of having to switch homes and all of that. And again, with kind of that underlying weaving of identity throughout the whole book. So Blended is really, really good. I've reread this several times as an adult, just because it is just such a really powerful book. And this is by Sharon M. Draper. And another one of her books that I love is Out of My Mind. Out of My Mind is, so powerful. Another one that I read even as an adult. I could just go on and on. I'll try not to give it all away. But Out of My Mind is about a young girl named Melody, and she has a photographic memory, but she has difficulty communicating. And so she is very smart, lots and lots of strengths, but she also has things that make life difficult, and she's often stuck inside her own head. And so this book goes through what that's like for her. And goodness, the empathy conversations, the accepting differences, the putting ourselves in others' shoes. I mean, I was brought to tears in some of the conversations that I had with students following our discussions with this book in particular. So highly recommend it, Out of My Mind. All right, two more I want to recommend. A Long Walk for Water. This is a much shorter book. So I mentioned if you want to do like a read aloud with a class, this one might be a good one because it is shorter read and a little bit easier for that. It's a very quick read, but really, really, really powerful. It tells the story of two different people, and it kind of goes back and forth on the different lives they're living and the stories that they tell of what they're experiencing. That's very, very difficult. Takes place in Sudan and based on a true story. A Long Walk for Water, again, very, very powerful, leads to some really great conversations about what people, especially in other countries, experience on a day-to-day basis that might be different from our experiences. And last but certainly not least is Fish in a Tree. This one has some similar-ish themes of Out of My Mind. I hadn't really ever thought about it until I started pulling these, and I thought, oh, yeah, it is a little bit similar. But again, really, really good. Fish in a Tree tells the story of a girl named Allie who has some special needs and isn't always treated the way she should be. Another, really good empathy building, understanding that we're more than maybe what you see on the outside, understanding we're more than a label, understanding the importance of how we treat one another. Just a lot of good lessons learned in Fish in a Tree as well. So those are my recommendations. I know there are a lot of them. I'll hold them up one more time. Fish in a Tree, Out of My Mind, A Long Walk for Water, Blended, Ruby on the Outside, and Wonder. Fantastic set of books for some of our older students. I would say I used all of those with ages 3rd through 5th, but they would definitely be relevant for middle school students as well. A lot of different ways you could use them, but I highly recommend that you incorporate them into your classrooms, or if you're a parent or caregiver, that maybe they are some stocking stuffers or birthday gifts down the road. They're just really great, and I highly recommend them. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Our Favorite Things. I will see you next time. Bye-bye.